If you are thinking about selling your home in Silver Spring, Maryland, you may be asking yourself one very important question. And it is an important question. What repairs should I actually make before I put my house on the market, Corey? Should you renovate that kitchen? Should you replace the roof? Should you remodel those bathrooms? They're getting old. Maybe you should do that. What about the flooring? Do you have fresh paint? How are those windows looking? Landscaping? Should you replace your old HVAC system that's barely cranking out that AC, right? Here's what many homeowners really don't realize. Just because you spend $30,000 improving your home doesn't mean you increase the value of your house by $30,000. It doesn't mean that. Please, let's get that right. Some improvements can absolutely help increase your home's value and attract stronger offers, right? That is true. Other repairs may simply just protect the value you already have, okay? So there are some renovations where you could spend a lot of money and never get the money back when you sell, all right? So that's a problem. I think you would agree. So in this video, I'm going to break down which home repairs and improvements can actually increase your property value in Silver Spring, Maryland, and which projects you may want to think twice about before you start spending that money. Okay, I'm Corey Lancaster. I'm with the Lancaster team of Sampson Properties, and if you've been thinking about selling your home in Silver Spring or anywhere in Montgomery County, this video could potentially save you thousands of dollars. Ching, ching. Okay, let's get into it. All right. So the first thing Silver Spring homeowners need to understand is that there is a difference between adding value to your home and protecting the value of your home already has. Okay, two different things. Okay, for example, let's say your roof is 25 years old, okay? Putting a new roof on a house doesn't necessarily mean that if you spend $15,000 on that roof, your home is suddenly worth an extra $15,000 more. But an old roof could become an objection for a buyer, right? So a buyer comes in there, they say, okay, how old is the roof? You say it's 25 years old. A buyer may look at that roof and say, I'm going to have to replace that roof soon. Right? That's possible. That could affect what they're willing to offer. It could come up during the home inspection. It could cause them to ask for a credit at settlement. In some situations, it could cause a buyer to choose a whole nother property, right? They don't want to deal with it. They just rather buy one that already has a newer roof. The same principle applies to an old HVAC system. Plumbing problems, electrical issues, water intrusion, structural problems, and other deferred maintenance. These improvements don't always create dollar for dollar additional value, as I just laid out for you. Instead, they can remove objections that could reduce your home's value, right? That's why before I recommend any repairs to a seller, I want to know this. What is preventing this particular property from competing with other home buyers, competing with the other homes buyers are considering, right? What else is on the market? What does that look like? That's a much more better question than simply asking, what can I renovate? Okay. One of the first improvements I would consider is also one of the simplest. Paint, right? Paint the house. If you've lived in your Silver Spring home for 10, 15, 20 years, or maybe even longer, you may not even notice some of the scuff marks, the older colors, nail pops, or normal wear and tear anymore, right? But buyers notice them. When they come to your house, trust me, they're going to notice them. Fresh paint can make an older home feel cleaner, brighter, and even better maintained, okay? And when you're preparing a house for sale, I generally prefer neutral colors that appeal to the larger number of buyers, okay? Remember this. I'm gonna say this twice. Remember, we're not decorating the house specifically for you anymore, right? We're not decorating the house specifically for you anymore. We're preparing it for the marketplace, right? The broad marketplace. Here's an important difference. If I can spend a relatively modest amount of money and dramatically improve the buyer's first impression of several rooms, that's the type of improvement I like. And don't automatically assume you need to paint the entire house, okay? Sometimes we may determine that only certain rooms, walls, trim, doors, high traffic areas need attention. The goal isn't just to spend the most money, right? The goal is to spend money where buyers will notice that money being spent. Now, let's talk about those kitchens, okay? This is where I see homeowners potentially make some expensive mistakes. Okay, don't make those expensive mistakes, okay? Everybody knows buyers love updated kitchens, especially the ladies. The ladies love those updated kitchens, but that doesn't necessarily mean you should spend 50, 75,000 or more remodeling your kitchen right before you put it on the market for sale, okay? In many situations, I would rather look at doing some strategic kitchen refreshments, not refreshments, I'm sorry, refreshing, okay? Maybe the cabinets are in good condition, but simply need to be updated, right? Could we paint or refinish them? Could we replace the cabinet's hardware, right? If you got stainless steel appliances, maybe they got the old gold ones on there. Maybe we can switch those out. Could we install a modern backsplash? Okay, kind of freshen it up. Could we replace an outdated countertop, right? You might have laminate. Let's do granite or let's do quartz, okay? Could you change older light fixtures, especially in those bathrooms, right? They start looking rusty and stuff, right? Could we replace one or two dated appliances, or if they're mismatched, right? That could make an improvement. Could we improve the flooring? Okay. These smaller improvements can sometimes dramatically change how a kitchen presents without the expense of completely tearing it all apart. Okay. That's important because industry remodeling data has repeatedly shown that minor kitchen renovations can improve a stronger percentage return than some of the larger ones, more expensive remodeling projects. So, if you're asking, should I remodel my kitchen before selling my Silver Spring home? The answer is, or my answer is, the professional answer would be maybe, okay? But don't automatically do a complete renovation. That's the point I'm trying to make. First, let's look at the condition of your kitchen, the value of your home, what competing properties look like, and what buyers in your particular price range expect, right? That could vary. Sometimes a 10,000 or 15,000 strategic improvement may make more financial sense than a $60,000 renovation. And sometimes the best decision is to do very little, very little. Sometimes you got to do just very little. Every property is different, okay? The same principles apply to bathrooms, right? The second most important rooms of the house, right? Bathrooms are important to buyers, but it doesn't necessarily mean you need to completely gut every bathroom in your house. Look at what buyers actually see. Is the vanity dated? Okay, maybe just change out that vanity. Are the faucets old? Very inexpensive fix. Okay. Is the lighting outdated? I mentioned it being rusted or just an old style. Does the grout look dirty? Okay, maybe we just clean that grout out, make it look fresher. Does the caulking need to be replaced? That comes up a lot, right? The caulk is falling apart. Put some nice white caulking on there. Bam. Is the mirror dated? If you bought an older home, you might have those old ones that kind of slide in there. Does the bathroom have an old toilet? Is the flooring making the entire bathroom look older than it actually is? That's another one. Sometimes relatively inexpensive cosmetic changes can make a bathroom look significantly newer, right? So we don't got to gut it out. Just make some changes. If we're selling a home where comparable properties have beautiful renovated bathrooms, and yours is substantially outdated, then we may need to do more. Okay, that's just the reality of the fact, right? Depending on what the expectations are in the market and what you're competing against. But again, the decision should be based on your competition and your expected sales price, not simply on what you saw on HGTV. Okay, HGTV is not really a reliable source, maybe for your situation. Another area I pay close attention to is flooring. Okay, Silver Spring has a lot of homes with hardwood floors, particularly older colonials, ramblers, split levels, and Cape Cod style homes. Okay, and sometimes sellers don't realize what they already have. Okay, you may have hardwood floors underneath your older carpet. We just need to clean that up. Okay, or maybe the hardwoods that scratched and worn, but could look fantastic after refinishing. Okay, if you have good hardwood floors, refinishing may completely transform the appearance of the house. Okay, if the carpet is heavily stained or worn, replacing it may make a lot of sense. It's very low cost, and if you have several different flooring styles competing with one another, right, throughout the home, sometimes creating a more consistent look can make the home feel more modern, right? You got, this hardwood floor going to this color hardwood floor, right, or luxury vinyl, right? Floor coverings has a tremendous amount of visual space. Okay, that's why buyers notice it immediately. Okay, so if you got it all over the place, we might need to make it more consistent. Now, let's go outside. This is an area sellers sometimes underestimate. Curb appeal matters. Don't let anybody tell you otherwise. Your buyer is formulating an opinion about your house before they ever walk through the front door. In fact, industry cost versus value studies have shown surprisingly strong returns from exterior projects such as replacing garage doors and entry doors. Can you believe that? Okay. So take a look at the front door of your Silver Spring home. Does the front door need painted or replacing? Right? That's the first thing they're going to do. Open that front door. Are the shutters faded? Okay. If you got faded shutters, we might need to look at painting those. Does the landscaping need to be cleaned up? Right? Maybe the bushes need to be hedged. Okay. Are bushes covering windows? Right? Sometimes those bushes have outgrown and are covering the windows, and you can't really get a good feel of the exterior with all the windows kind of covered in the front. Is the lawn overgrown? Does the walkway need pressure washing? Are exterior light fixtures outdated? Right? Let's get some modern ones in there. Are the house numbers old? Sometimes I see them like are broken off on the side. One of the house numbers is like twisted around and so forth. Does the garage door look worn? Right? They're pulling up into the driveway. Want the garage door to look good. Okay. You don't necessarily need an expensive landscaping project. Sometimes trimming bushes, adding mulch, cleaning driveways, painting the front door, and adding a few inexpensive finishing touches completely change that first impression. And remember, buyers don't experience your house for the first time when they walk inside. They experience it when they pull up in front of your house. Okay? So curb appeal. Here's another category that homeowners often overlook. Smaller deferred maintenance items. Let me give you some examples. A loose doorknob, right? Front door is loose. Maybe some of the bedroom doors. Leaky faucets, okay? Under the sink or over top. Broken light fixtures. Again, especially in front, curb appeal, right? A door that doesn't close properly, right? It should latch. It should close all the way, right? You shouldn't have to be yanking it. Damaged drywall, right? Missing outlet covers, all right? A toilet that keeps running, ching ching, that's going to make that water bill high, all right? A broken cabinet hinges, water stains. Water stains from an old leak. I should clarify that. Water stains from old leaks. So, hey, the toilet overflowed last year. You fixed the toilet and that issue, but you didn't fix the drywall, right? It still has water stains. Crack coating around the tub. Individually, these may seem like inexpensive repairs, but when buyers see 5, 6, 7, or 10 of them throughout the whole house, something happens psychologically. They start to wonder, if I can see all these little problems, what are the problems I can't see that are bigger problems? Okay. That's when a buyer can begin mentally discounting the property. Okay. So before selling, I like to identify those relatively inexpensive repairs that help communicate to the buyers the home has been maintained. That's valuable, right? Now, let's get into the big ticket items. Big ticket items are roof, your HVAC system, heating and cooling, right? Electrical, plumbing, okay? These are areas where I would be, let's say, very careful about spending money without first understanding the selling strategy, okay? Where are you going to price this home, etc., okay? Compared to maybe competition. If your HVAC system is older, but it's working properly, right? It's fine. You don't have no issues. Does it automatically need to be replaced before selling? Not necessarily. What about an older roof that isn't leaking? Again, not necessarily. But if the roof is actively leaking, the HVAC doesn't work at all, you have known plumbing leaks, or there are electrical safety concerns, that's a little different, okay? Let me make that clear. Those issues can affect the financing, the home inspections, right? The insurance, negotiations, and buyer confidence, right? The question becomes, with fixing these problems before we list the property, put you in a better financial position than dealing with it during the transaction? Mm, that's the analysis we need to make, right? We need to see what makes the most sense. And depending on the type of work you're considering, Montgomery County may require permits for renovations and alterations, including certain HVAC, electrical, plumbing, structural, decks, addition, those type of projects. So don't overlook the permitting side of the equation. This may be one of the most important points in this entire video, right? Montgomery County can be pretty strict on your permits, all right? Don't over improve your house for the neighborhood, okay? Neighborhood where the property is located. Let's say homes similar to yours in your Silver Spring neighborhood are selling around 600,000. If you put 150,000 into your property, that doesn't automatically make it worth 750,000. Okay, real estate doesn't work like that. Your home's value is heavily influenced by comparable properties that are similar to yours. What are similar homes sold for in that neighborhood and or area? Okay, how large are they, right? Square footage makes a big difference in value. How many bedrooms and baths, right? And then what condition were they in when they sold? Okay. What upgrades did they do when they sold? Okay. The lot characteristics, that also makes a difference. Does it back the woods? Does it have a lake view? Those things matter as well. Okay. That's why the correct repair strategy for a $500,000 home in Silver Spring property may be completely different from the strategy of a $800,000 or a $1 million property. The higher the price point, the more buyers they expect, okay? But even then, there is always a ceiling, okay? There's always a cap, okay, or how much you should put in. You want to bring the property to a level where the market rewards those improvements and repairs, okay? You don't necessarily want to make it the most expensive renovation in the neighborhood. And if I were evaluating a Silver Spring home before putting it on the market, here's roughly how I would think about the priorities. Number one, first of all, correct minor defects that could interfere with the sale. Two, take care of visual deferred maintenance. Three, I would say it's probably improve the home's first impression with paint, cleaning floors, lighting, curb appeal where needed. Okay. Fourth, strategically update kitchens and bathrooms instead of automatically doing it for renovation if you can get away with it. Okay. Fifth, look at the comparable sales before making expensive improvements. Okay. And six, determine what you should repair. Okay, those are the steps. Okay, that last one is extremely important, right? Evaluate what you're going to do, right? Sometimes my advice to a homeowner may be, don't spend the money. Just don't do it. Don't spend the money. I'd rather see you keep $20,000 in your pocket than to spend $20,000 on something that may only increase your eventual sales price by $5,000 or $10,000. That's why you want to develop your own renovation strategy before calling the contractors and starting work. So, what repairs actually increase your property's value in Silver Spring, Maryland? There's no single repair that makes sense for every property. But generally, I want sellers concentrating on improvements that increase the buyer's appeal, eliminating objections, improve the condition, and make the property competitive with similar homes currently on the market or recently sold homes. Okay? That can include fresh paint, as we talked about, refinishing or updating those floorings, strategic kitchen improvements, bathroom updates, okay? Curb appeal. Again, don't miss out on that curb appeal. That's important. Front door and garage door improvements, right? That's kind of go hand in hand with the curb appeal. Lighting, check that lighting. Make sure you have enough of it and so forth. Minor repairs that we talked about, right? Make sure you get the little things because then mind starts wondering what are the issues that they don't see, and addressing major maintenance problems where those problems are likely to interfere with the sale of the home. Okay, but before you spend thousands and thousands of dollars renovating your Silver Spring home, get a professional opinion on what your house could sell for today. Okay, what it could potentially sell for after improvements, and whether the difference justifies the investment. Okay, that's the number that really matters. If you're thinking about selling your home in Silver Spring, Maryland, Montgomery County, or the surrounding DMV area, reach out to me. Once again, I'm Corey Lancaster. I'm with the Lancaster team of Sampson Properties, and I'd be happy to walk through your property with you and help you determine what I believe you should repair, okay? What you should update, and just as importantly, what you shouldn't spend money on. We don't want you losing money, okay? The job is to make you more money. Because the goal isn't simply to make your house look better, that's not the goal, okay? That's not the primary goal. The goal is to make smart improvements that put the most money as possible in your pocket when the home sells. If you found this video helpful, like this video, subscribe to this video, and check out my other videos where I answer the questions Silver Spring and Montgomery County homeowners are asking about selling their homes. Okay? I'll see you in the next video.